Hey everyone, Retire on Dividends here, back to make another weekly update to my options trading journey to see how it's going. So let's get to it. What you see on the screen here, these are the various ETFs that are on my watch list that I trade options on. Now, the goal for me when I do options is just purely income. And, that's number one. Number two is to never lose capital. If anything, you would gain capital, but staying capital flat is just fine as well. So, and the reason these are my watch list is because the IV. Number one, the IV is high. So first, let's look at tsll. Right now they're essentially at 140% IV. So you could imagine the premium you can get from that. So with high IV, obviously comes high risk. So, you take what you can get with the high risk, high reward. You could see the 52-week low on this fund is $4.94. The 52-week high is $17. So when you look at the fluctuation, it's, a 71% gap, which is pretty crazy, right? But again, that's what you got to do. I mean, that's the risk. It could go up, it can go down, it can go all around, but you hope it kind of stays within reason that you could afford. But again, my strategy is to have a bankroll of 10 times the amount of contracts, right? 10 contracts for tsll right now, which costs $12,540. So I have to make sure I have that much money in case I get caught up in a disaster. Meaning I'll sell puts, I'll get a sign, the stock could continue to tumble and tumble and tumble. But I got to make sure I can average all the way down by selling more puts. A couple more on this list. Bitex 2X fund of Bitcoin, they're over 100% IV. SOXL, they're 92% IV. I feel like they should be higher, but again, that's still pretty damn good. I think their options chain is just very, very busy. So you always get good premium on them. TNA, TQQQ, and UPRO. These are the three indexes. These, when all said and done, when I'm retired, when I'm hanging out at the beach all freaking day, going in the water, doing whatever, right? Getting tan as hell. What am I going to trade options on? The goal is to trade options mostly on the indexes, and that's TNA, TQQQ, and UPRO. Right now, they are, TNA is the highest IV, and it's the most affordable. So that's why I'm only trading TNA. 64% IV, $43. So 10 contracts of TNA is $43,000. Clearly, that's very expensive. So I take it easy on TNA. I don't even try to trade TQQQ and UPRO right now because you could see the 10 contract expense, $71,000 and $85,000. So again, most people say, well, why? Why with the 10 contract thing? And the reason is I'm not someone that trades options that tries to time the market. I don't really look at the Greeks, right? I do now. I do look at charts, not every time, but I just like to make trades, right? I like to play options. And I play options, most would say pretty stupid, right? Because I'll sell a put on a green day. I will on TSLL. Maybe not some of these others, but again, I'm just trying to make income, right? If I get assigned at a high price, I don't care because I can average down. And my strategy, it's not normal. Sometimes, more people like to be calculated. They like to look at certain criteria or they don't make the move. Me, I'm more about I got to make the income. And, obviously I have to be smart, within reason, of course, or else I'll get burnt. But, basically that's my strategy. These are the funds I'm trading. Will I add any others to this watch list? I don't know. But these are awesome. This is a great variety for me, and I have plenty more than I can handle with these. All right, let's move on. So, anything in gray, these are options trades that were previously done. So, we will discuss what's in white here. I got to zoom in. I want to keep the expiration date in there so you can see it, okay? So, let's take a look. What did I have going on this week? I had a TNA put I had a lot expiring this week. It was actually pretty crazy, and it was getting kind of concerning, to be honest. So I had two TNA puts this week, row 140, row 142, if you look. They both expired Friday, and they were both almost in danger this week, right? Because TNA was going down. It was heading towards the downward, and I was thinking I was going to get assigned. I did not. There was opportunity to close out early. I did not do it. But in the end, what happened? TNA, let's go down here. They closed at $43.13, which is above both the 40 and the 42, if you look at the strike prices, right? So basically, they expired worthless. So I got $8,200 back, which was my collateral. And for my troubles, for taking the risk, I got $108.56, right? So about $164. So I lent out $8,200 for like a week and a half or so, and I got $164. This is options. Worst case, if you consider it worst case, I would have gotten assigned, which means they take my $8,200 and I buy the shares. But that didn't happen. But again, I'm okay with either result. And if you're okay with either result of your options trade, this could go a long way and you can have a lot of fun. All right. Next trade on there is TSLL. Again, I have a lot of trades on TSLL, so let's bear with me here. What do I got? So I had a $12 put. I sold many puts. A 12, an 11, a 13, and a 12.50. All of these expired Friday. What did TSLL close at? It closed at $12.54. So $12.54 is above every single strike except the 13. So what happened is every contract expired worthless except the 13. The 13 got assigned. So what happens? That means they take the collateral I put up for that, which is $1,300. They give it to the buyer, and they give me 100 shares with a $13 cost basis, which is perfectly fine with me. I was really hoping that they would close below $12.50 so that I get assigned the $12.50 as well. However, that did not happen, so I only own 100 shares. All of the other TSLL puts for the week expired worthless. So, what happens is I get all that. I got a lot of collateral back this week from TNA, from TSLL, and by the way, SOXL. So the next trade was SOXL. I had a put expiring. They had a $35 strike. I also had a 33, which is one I traded for this week. So where did SOXL close at? They closed at 36.68. All right. So if I look at the two, they're under that price. So that means they both expired worthless, and I got my collateral back. $6,800, right? $6,800 back in the account. So I'm getting a lot of collateral back this weekend, right back into the account, so I could sell puts yet again next week. And I'm not going to lie, this week I was a little worried because I thought I was going to get assigned almost all of my TSLL shares, all of my TNA shares, and all of my SOXL shares. And why would I worry about that? Well, because if all of them tanked, I would have less and less money to trade puts on, sell puts on, and, be able to lower the cost basis on all three. But what happened is SOXL and TNA both ended up recovering, and I did not get assigned on either. I'm kind of disappointed. I honestly wanted to get assigned on one, but I did not get assigned on either. So I only got assigned on one stinking put on TSLL. And by the way, the trades for this week, let's take a look. I did sell puts. Let's look at, I sold a put on TSL, strike of 11.50. Obviously, that expired worthless. And then I had another SOXL. Again, I was getting worried, so I wanted to lower my cost basis. I chose the $30 strike. Guess what, guys? I closed this early because within a day, I made 80% of my profit, 80% within one trading day. So I did a buy to close, lost my man card, but it was worth it. And then I sold two more puts for TSLL, but this time I went into next week. I did an 11 and a 1050. Okay. I didn't talk about the annualized yields, but needless to say, if you annualized what I'm getting, all of them are above 40%. TSLL, of course, is typically above 100%. TNA, you could see I'm not getting as much. Like the one I got 56%, so that's pretty low for me, but it's still above 40%. Because when you trade the indexes, you get a lower annualized yield. However, you get the index, which is a beauty, versus just, say, Tesla, right? If you're just trading Tesla, much more risky than trading options on an index. Of course, the index is triple leverage. The Tesla one is only double leverage, but I still consider TNA much safer. All right, so those are the trades for the week. So I have 2 pending puts for next week. I got assigned on 1, and everything else expired worthless. So I don't know what you guys consider a win, but that's a pretty damn good week for me. September, I don't know if I mentioned this last video, but I did close out with a freaking massive number. I made $1,696 for the month of September, which, that's a record for me. I don't even know if I can beat that this month. So far this month, I have made $160. If I add up, let's see if this formula is up to date. It goes up to 185. Yep, it is. So since I started, I'm up to $5,228 in options premium, which again is pretty awesome because it's fun, guys. It is fun. I did add this September tab, so it does show you kind of what I made for the month of September. So basically, on puts I made 1,334. On calls I made 362. And then you can see that, most of it is from TSLL, of course. I did make a lot of money on BitTEX in September. Haven't traded them in a while because crypto has been on a tear. Way too green for me. All right, so since I did get assigned, I added the assigned shares at the top of the wheel. This is wheel number 3 for TSLL. I got assigned yesterday, 10-4, 100 shares. $13 strike price. So if I scroll down, that is now my average cost basis. So I'll plug that in on the blue. And now you can see TSLL is priced at $12.54. So if on Monday TSLL goes to the moon, goes up above $12.54, up to 13, whatever, I'm probably just going to sell calls at 13, to be honest. And why? Why not sell calls at 14? Why not sell calls above? Well, earnings is coming up, not this week. I believe there's some robo-taxi news this week, but then the earnings the next week. So I don't know. If I don't own any shares through earnings, am I okay with that? Sure. Either way, I'm going to sell puts through earnings. I'm going to sell calls if I can through earnings. I am going to play earnings. To me, it's important to play through the earnings because that's where the IV is. Yes, it's risky, but whatever. We'll worry about the outcome after the earnings. All right, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how much. I wish I would have had 200 shares, but I don't. I only have 100. I played as aggressive as I could without being too stupid, and I only got 100 shares. All right, so put party for next week. I have a 1050 and I have an 11. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so TNA wheel, again, I don't have any puts. I had to delete what the puts I had because they did not get assigned. BitTEX, I haven't been trading, too expensive. SOXL, no puts, pending. So now the 2024 income tab shows you how much I've been making per week. So if I look at this latest week, I only made $225. But again, the most of the money was made from the prior week, right? The prior week I had a really good week, 474, which is really good. But 225, I had a lot of money tied up. I didn't want to go any more riskier than I did, so I only made 225. I used 9,600 in capital, which ended up being a 2.34% yield for the week, which is, it's good. It's great, right? So now, by the way, the annual income is a new field. I just take, whatever the weekly is times 52. And that's how much, if I made that every week, this would be my annual income. So obviously I am very far away from retiring on options. But again, it's a work in progress, guys. You can see I've been trading since February 16th and it's growing ever since, right? I'm getting more and more, I'm trusting myself more and more, which means I'm using more of the money to do options versus using the money to buy yield max defiance or round hill funds, right? So, I'm doing both, and I'm planning on doing both in the near future. How much will I use for options? As much as I need to, right? If I lock up funds in yield max and I need the funds, I'll sell it. I really don't care. I'll sell it if I need to protect my cost basis on options. So, not a big deal for me. All right. Outside of that, that's the update. And then we get to the hypothetical, the retire on options hypothetical. Again, what do? If I go to the options tab, I do have the annualized yield averaged up, right? This goes from, the beginning up until the end. And I have been averaging a 248% annualized yield. Okay? How do I annualize it? Well, basically, I take how much I've invested in versus how much I've received versus how many days are in, the contract. And then I calculate the daily yield, and then I multiply that by 365 days. Of course, most of these trade over the weekends, so that is included. Week is included. Every day is included. And that's how I get the retire on options hypothetical. Now, 248%, you see that in the top, right? That's row 2. Basically, if I had $80,000 and I traded all of that money, I would make $200,000 a year, right? Now I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, so I take what? B6 divided by B5. Yeah, so it takes the 200,000 divided by that yield, and it tells you only need 80,000. Now, I do have these where I cut it in, I say like 3/4. 75% of that is this, or 50% of that is this. Do I think I can yield 75%? 186%? Yeah, I do. So for that, I would need 107,000. And do I think I could yield 50%? 50% of that number, which is 124% annualized? Absolutely. So the high capital, the safe capital, at least for me, is 161,000. So if I had 161,000, and that's what I probably should highlight because that's really the trustworthy number here. If I had $161,000, I believe I can make $200,000 a year. Of course, this assumes you're using all the capital as well, right? Which is also very risky. But again, I think I could yield more than 124% in general. So it is what it is. But yeah, 161,000. Can I make 200K? Yeah, I think so. But do you think you can? Do you think that's enough for you? I don't know. I think I did ask this in the Discord the other day because I was just curious what people thought. If you have 200,000, can you make 200,000? Yeah, I feel more comfortable with that. But again, what I should do is probably do 50%, right? Because in the end, you're only going to trade 50% of the fund, right? So you probably want to multiply that by 150% to get the true number, right? So you may want to do like a true up. So actually, we'll do that right now. We'll insert one column to the left, right? And if you do this, you add a column for 150%. So you're going to gross it up by 150%, right? So you take the 80, for example, and you say, okay, this, and you multiply, where is it? That times that. And you always want to put the dollar signs. You're gonna lock it in, right? You gotta lock it in. This is so that formula locks when we carry it down. Oh crap! I screwed up the dollar sign. All right, 1 second. Here we go. You throw that. Yeah. So what that means when you copy this cell down, it doesn't carry that cell down. It freezes it where it's at, right? All right. So now we want to do the number format, right? We go here, and then we pick currency if it's here, or accounting, whatever it is, and that's it. So the low capital grossed up, you would need 120,000. What should we make this? Blue? Sure. 120,000. If we gross up the other two, this is how much you would need. So again, you can look at it how you want. This is just for fun, right? Hypothetical. So the really safe bet is 241,000. The really risky bet is 80,000. So if you had 241,000, you should easily make 200,000 based on how at least I've been trading. If the market tanks and goes to shit, obviously there's bigger problems anyway. But again, so far so good. So if I ever have 241,000 in my taxable account, will I quit my job? That's another story for another day. Again, I want the ability to be able to retire early. That doesn't necessarily mean I will retire, because I want the feeling knowing I can retire any day. Going into work may not be as bad when I have that feeling, right? But knowing you rely on your job, you rely on that income, you need it, you can't leave, it's a little different feeling. But if you go to work and you know, I'm going to put my 2 weeks in, I'm done. And you know you can do that, I'm sure you'll feel differently about work. Plus, I don't think I'll ever stop working. It's just a matter of, will I do like a full-time, normal, busy job that's stressful as shit? Or will I just cut back and go work at Costco and be a greeter, right? That's always the dream job, right? And why do I say Costco greeter is the dream job? I'll tell you why. Because you leave the job at work. Nothing comes home with you. My current job, as soon as I log off, what happens? The emails stack up. They stack up. They stack up. So when I go on, I'm already behind. I'm always behind. You're always behind. In the corporate BS world, you're always behind. If you have a job like a greeter at Costco, when you go home, that's it. There's no extra work waiting for you when you go back, right? That's the beauty of it. Jobs like that, as much as retail, well, I can't bucket all retail, of course, because there are retail jobs that do, kind of screw up. You have more work when you go back, but I'm talking like just greeters in general. That's a job where you leave at work, right? You don't come into work and you have stacks and stacks of shit to do. You just start and you stand there and you say, yo, what's going on? Let me see your card, right? But I don't know. Anyway, guys, as always, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you were entertained. If not, we'll try again next week. If there's anything I did not go into detail enough, please let me know. Again, I do share my options trades at the end of each daily video to show you what I'm doing throughout the week. Because it's hard when I do the summary to explain like the emotion or why I did something. Or, I mean, in the end, I don't know if you guys care about that, but I try to squeeze that in during the weekly. But again, this week, not the best week, not the worst week. The best part for this week is I controlled myself. I didn't overdo it. I controlled myself and I got out with most of my collateral back. And in fact, I only got assigned, 100 shares of tsll. Again, I don't mind assignment. I don't need too much assignment, but I don't mind assignment in general. I did kind of oversell puts and was in trouble for a second. It looked like it. And then in the end, it ended up working out. So it was all good. All right, I think I said it's not financial advice, so you guys know that. If you enjoy this content, please hit the like button. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them down in the comments below. All right, and that's about it. But yeah, if you want to help out the channel, please share this content with your friends and family. If you want to join, you could be a member. If you have ideas for the membership group, the ROD Wolfpack, please let me know. Try to get some live, discussions of, the live options trades. I don't know. So kind of hard with work, but we could think of something maybe once a month. I don't know. You guys let me know if you're part of the Wolfpack. All right, guys, I am out of here. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you later.